Uh, it's late at night. Hope you're not feeling mellow. Hello, I can flow like jello with my shirt that says yellow. You feel me? Shouts to Okialini. Okalini. What's up, guys? This is my last episode in this apartment. I'm packing. You want to take a look around? I got a lot of boxes done today. That's all throwaway. Bunch of books and stuff. Got the guitars and everything. You want to see my room now? Check it out. I don't know if I could take you. Fuck. All right, let's try it. All right, this is gonna be wonky. All right. Wow. You should see what I'm doing. I'm holding up all this. I just want you to admire what I'm doing here real quick. So, it's just about cleared. I dropped some mats down. Painted because I want my security deposit back. Well, not paint, but I put 2 coats of primer. I'm about to put a 3rd coat on just to make sure. I got to take these photos down. And then, and maybe try to patch up a couple of the big holes there tomorrow. If you're asking about that, I had a wall closet hanger, and then I put it up, and it took 4 hours, way longer than it should have. And then I realized it was half a foot to the left of where I wanted it to be. So then I took it all down just to put it all back. I remember making that decision too, because I was sitting there okay, half a foot, is it really that important? And then I was like, well, I'm going to be here for 10 months, 11 months, so just put in another 4 hours and it'll pay off. And, hey, that song was called Thank You. And I got a lot to be thankful for. There's a lot of people that got me to this position. So shout out to my family and my parents, first and foremost, who got me to New York. I didn't have a job or anything, and they were kind of like, listen, just fucking go for it. If we were, young and out of college, I would do the same thing. So they helped me get here. And it's just been bouncing from job to job. I don't know, most people with a 4-year degree from a top 5 university, go Gators. Most people got some shit figured out, and most people, they're always fighting for their career, or they know which path they're going. And to me, it was always music. Everything else I've done outside of music was just a way to pay rent. It was always music. It always has been. I'm going to work, but I'm thinking about a song that I want to write. And on my lunch break, I'm sneaking off to Starbucks, and I bring out my little notepad, and I'm trying to practice my rhymes for 20 minutes, whatever time I got. And I've been doing that for years, putting music on the side. And I just realized, you know what, man, I'm 26 and I'm feeling old. Not old, but 27. And then you're going to be 28, and next thing you know it, you're 30. I don't want to be in my 30s saying, all right, let me give it a shot. Let me give it a shot now. I still feel older than I should be, but 26 is a good age if I'm already going. And it's going to take probably 2 to 3 years to get to that level where you start to achieve fame, and you're recognized and you're well connected. You have people you can reach out to in your network, music related, for all facets of the business. It's going to take some time to develop those relationships and get myself to that level and develop my skill set at the same time. So really, I'm starting now at 26, going independent and full-time, but I probably won't be to where I want to be until maybe I'm 28, even 29. But at least I'm doing it now. If I was 22 or 23, if I moved to New York and I didn't do all of these cold calling jobs, and then working at Guitar Center, and working at this place and that place, and then I'm going to do real estate for a year. And if I didn't do that, I would probably be at that status now. But then again, I probably wouldn't have learned my lesson either. You know, New York taught me a lot, and there's some things that, you know, it's just hard to. I'm not saying that people are perfect, and I'm not saying that people can't do better, but sometimes I think the things that we trip up on just really become lessons for ourselves. If I got fame when I wanted it, when I was 21, if I was a rich and famous rock star at 21, I wouldn't have learned anything. I wouldn't have learned consistency, which is something I'm still learning. But hey, look at us. This is our 216th episode. Come on now. I wouldn't have learned consistency. I wouldn't have learned, you know, I wouldn't have learned how to actually go get something, because at that point in my life, everything was given to me. And I think the beautiful thing about music, when I'm realizing it, is music is going to be the only thing in my life that is not given to me. I'm going to have to get it if I want it. You know, my parents are good people. They're hardworking people. They keep a roof over their head. They're not struggling for money. If I said to my dad, hey, I want to do real estate in Florida, I want to do mortgaging in Florida, he would have a million people I could reach out to. Even if I said I want to do sports, he probably has a couple people I want to reach out to. Hey, I want to do news broadcasting. He has a bunch of people I can reach out to. Same thing with my mom. Hey, if I want to, do something school related, she has people I can reach out to. Hey, do you know anybody in Seminole County who can help me with this? She knows people. So both of my parents know those people, but nobody in my family is well connected in the music industry, specifically hip hop. So now me coming from the suburbs of Lake Mary to the big city, and I'm trying to build a life in hip hop in New York. That's very cool, because it's the opportunity. It's like God saying, here, to the thing that you wanted most, let it be the most meaningful. Let it be the thing in life that you had to work hardest for. If I wanted to be a $1 million real estate agent, I wouldn't have to work as hard as I'd have to be a $1 million musician, because I have more of a head start in real estate, given my dad being a mortgage broker, his friends being real estate agents, etc. That's already a network. When I was working at the studio, there was a chick that would come in, and I think her dad was like super well connected in the music industry, some high executive and whatever. And even before she like built a genuine following, she was opening for like pretty big rappers, especially like rappers that were like very prominent in the golden boom bap era. And she's like traveling South America opening for them. Like, well, that's impressive, and the fact that she's able to use her father's connection is impressive. So, music's one of those things that I don't have that like hardcore connection. I don't have the cheat code in music. There's some other things in my life I got a cheat code for, and I know it. And I'm sure same thing with you. I'm sure you got some things in your life that if you wanted to do it, even if though you're not interested, if you wanted to do it, you knew the way to do it. Music is just one of these things that I want the next generation in my family to be able to, even if it's not my kid, if it's like my brother's kid or my cousin's kid, if they wanted to be musicians, it's like, yo, Uncle Smüth or Uncle Louie, Uncle Louis, that I could be the guy for them. Like, oh, dude, just talk to your uncle. You want to be a rapper? Talk to your uncle. He's got you. I want to be that guy, If I wanted to be a doctor, I got people in my family. You know what I mean? And same thing with you. You got people in your family or your friends. And so Josh asked me, my roommate, he asked me if I'm excited to move. And I told him yes and no. Because it's a little sad because this is the healthiest relationship I've had as a roommate. You know, all of my other relationships have been good, but I've always been, using drugs and alcohol at a relatively extreme level. And I got clean 3 years ago when I was 23. So the fact that I have 3 years is unreal. Because it literally feels like just you never know when the next one could be, you know. And it's such an unreal journey. Like, I feel like my energy levels are just getting back to where I was when I was like 17 and 18. Like, the world's not going to stop me. I feel like I'm just getting back to there. But the difference is now I have the maturity and the wisdom to execute, to make my body do the things that I didn't think were important before. The discipline, the finish, the follow through. Just when I hear the word follow through, I think of my dad like squeezing my hands, doing a wrist shot, getting pissed because I would shoot a wrist shot 80% of the way. And it's like, really, when you turn over your wrist, that's when you get the power. So, This was such a healthy experience for me, and to live with somebody who's older, I always enjoy that. Josh is 30, he turned 31. I'm 25, I turned 26. So, he's 5 years older, and it was just healthy for me. All of our friends were, 31, 32, 33, 28, so by far I was the youngest. And it's just good to be around like older people. I feel like it just kind of gives me that like, it's just different. And it helps you feel young too. You want to feel young, hang out with older people than you are. And they'll just look at you like, oh, you have so much time. I love when people do that. Oh, you have so much time. Oh, so... our lives are ahead of us. They really are. And I didn't think I was going to do all of this today. The fact that I put 2 coats of primer on, I got, just about all of my boxes packed. Tomorrow's going to be a relatively easy day. So, it's bittersweet. I'm looking forward to my next chapter. I'm moving into an art community, like an art house. I need to find a pitch, like the best way to word that. Art community, art house, art hub, art incubator. It's like, you've seen Silicon Valley. It's like Silicon Valley, but for artists. And everybody there is like full time. I think there's only like two or three musicians, and the rest of people are like either photographers or they're like video editors. So it's really good. It's a really cool blend and a mix. The place itself is huge, like massive, like 8 bedrooms. There's like 2 stories, a massive art gallery downstairs, a massive photo shoot area. You go upstairs, it's like another massive art gallery with like a stage, drum set. There's a recording studio in there. Then there's like a huge kitchen, loft. It's insane. So I'm very much looking forward to it. The rent is cheaper than what I pay here. And I was telling my mom, like the guy that runs the place, the curator, was telling me, hey, listen, I got a van. Let me know. I'll come over. I'll pick you up and we'll put your stuff in and go. And I kind of felt like telling him no. I was going to rent a van myself, because I think a weakness of mine is like I try not to ask for help. I'd rather do things myself. And it sounds like a good trait, but really it's not, because it's a fear. It's a fear to spend social capital, I think is what it is. It's a that could be it. It could be a fear of of burdening people or inconveniencing people. It could be a fear of hearing no. which is, I don't know, not really the case. It's just kind of like, I don't know, I've always felt like, why do I want to get somebody to help me carry the load when I can do it myself? But sometimes we need that, you know? And I think asking is an art. So I need to get better at asking. You know, there's photographers there. I need to ask them to do photo shoots. So I'm excited to live in a what sounds like a barter community. You know, people like bartering their skill sets. Hey, my band's playing, but our drummer, like one of the guys told me, hey, my drummer like broke his wrist. I heard you drum. I do drum. Okay, well, help me with this, and then, you know, I'll give you this. And I'm like, cool. It's a cool thing. So it's also month to month. So if it turns out to be batshit crazy artists, you know, who knows? Well, no, I'm excited for it. It's just a little sad, you know. It's not sad, but like, it was the same feeling I had when I was sitting in the studio with Steve Sola at Plain Truth Entertainment, and it was me, him, and Opera Steve. I think that was his name, Opera Steve, Opera something. And we were all doing a session together, me, Steve Sola, Opera Steve, and then and he had this little girl that he was coaching. So she was paying for the session, and he was coaching her to record vocals for some cover song. We get through that. That was probably a 3-hour session. Then it's like 1 a.m. I think we're about to pack up. The little girl leaves. Opera Steve and Steve start talking shit, shooting the shit, like talking about old stories and stuff. Then Steve Sola says, hey, and he gives me a 20. He says, go grab us a pizza. So I'm like, cool. I go down to Joe's Pizza, and as I'm walking back with this, you know, cheese pizza, I just knew, man. I just knew this was going to be one of those days that I'm going to wish I could go back to. Have you ever had a moment like that? Like a moment where it's just so good? I feel like when you're very, very young, and it doesn't even have to be anything extravagant. It could be something so simple, but I feel like when you're very young, you get these moments, you don't really notice them. And as you get older, the more you start reminiscing, I think the more aware you become in the moment that this is going to be something I'm going to reminisce about. And even when you feel like that, you still can't harness that moment forever. You can't keep it. That's like the fucked up beauty of life, is you can only rent. Like, we're only renting. Even if you own a home, you don't own your home. Even if it's paid off, it's not paid off. You're just renting it. You know, we're all just renting. And the fact that you can have this moment and you're in the fucking moment and you know this is going to be something you're going to reminisce. You know this is such a beautiful moment and you are living in it. You are cherishing it. But the moment still passes. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's, I don't know, it's a little depressing, but it's also beautiful. And that was one of those moments for me. I still think about that moment. You know, walking back to the studio, and I can picture it, man. I'm walking down the hallway. I got the pizza. I'm like opening up the door. It has like a fresh smell to it. There's the blue lights. You know, Steve's sitting there. I got the napkins. We have the glass little table. I just clean it off. We sit there. We eat the pizza. Steve opens up Opera Steve session. Now Steve is working on Opera Steve session. Opera Steve finds out I'm Hispanic. He starts talking to me in Spanish. We start talking in Spanish. Steve knows Italian because he's Italian from Rome. So he starts, you know, talking in Italian. And it was little shit like horsing, hitting each other in the elevator. And what are you going to do? I feel like I'm drunk, but I'm not. I'm just up late. I had Josh got some pizza tonight. So eating some pizza and drinking Pepsi. And I'm just feeling emotional, a little emotional. So This was a good place, man. I wish I could just have all of the places that I've lived in forever. You know, I wish I could just go back into these moments but maybe I'm looking backwards when I need to be looking forward. Usually when I feel like this, it's because I'm not looking forward to much, or I'm just so anxious that I start looking backwards. So with that being said, thank you guys. To the people who are watching this, who actually, take the time to watch and leave a comment or something, thank you. I read them. I appreciate them. All right, guys. Stay smooth.